Hello viewer. To many people, when they receive word that they have got cancer, this sounds to them like a death sentence. Actually, to many people, they despair and give up hope in life. But to a few, they're able to pick themselves up, look forward, and march into that future which they really don't know about, but are hopeful that there is good to come out of it. One such person is our guest today here in studio. I'm talking about Reverend Raphael Chege, who is a minister with the Redemption World Crusaders. Reverend Raphael is a cancer survivor. He will share with us how he received the news of his sickness, how he coped with it, and how today he lives, strengthening not just himself, but other people and working towards making Kenya a cancer-free and also an environment that is friendlier to people with cancer in terms of finding treatment and living their life. You're watching The People's Show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or opinion, you can send us an email on info@gbskenya.com, or you can also send us an SMS on 21144. Reverend Chege, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Reverend, not many people would like to come out and speak about their condition, especially when it comes to issues of cancer, because at such a juncture, you find that some people also shy away from you. But we're really grateful, first of all, Reverend, for coming out and speaking to us about this. Maybe just to start on a lighter note, Reverend, where were you born and how did you grow up? In what kind of an environment did you grow up in?
Well, thank you so much, Timothy. Well, I grew up in a humble estate, and in that state it was just the lower side of the fence. And more or less, I grew up when I was small. My father was detained, so after that my mother brought us, we were three to start with, brought us up until the time of independence around there. I grew in Northern Gatondo,
All right.
and educated the same in the lower primary. And then I went up for my higher education out of the press, although it was quite hard those days. But nevertheless, I had determination and focused. Yeah, beside the poverty-stricken society and home, I had that determination in life and to be somebody in life. And that was the driving gear as my life was concerned. Yes.
So clearly growing up post the colonial era wasn't very easy. But then as you grew up, what motivated you in life generally?
What really motivated me much more is that seeing my parents, seeing the other people around, they are poor. I did not really like to grow up to be poor.
In that poverty.
To have those negativities around poverty. I really wanted actually to be able to come out of it and not to copycat the life of my parents and the society in general. So that was one thing that made me to be very positive in life, regardless of when we did not have even the amenities that we have today, and even food forthcoming, just name it. But actually there was an inner motivation, to grow to be somebody, to grow at least to help the society. And I thank God that I think God was with me around the way. Yes.
While we were having a chat earlier when we first met, Reverend, you mentioned to me that you had worked as a civil servant.
Yeah, I have worked as a civil servant for quite a while in different ministries, different departments. I worked with in the Attorney General,
Okay.
in the vital information, vital statistics. I worked also in Treasury when our current president was the Minister for Finance. I also was I worked also in High Court. I too also was worked under the Prime Minister. By then, when the throat of the Prime Minister was formed in Kenya, I worked there, and I majored very much on, and I featured very much on HIV and AIDS programs in the country. So within, now that I was in the government, I was championing even for groups that were there to bring them in, to source the input of the government, some training, some sensitization, advocacy in different government departments, and also bring out people so that they can be trained what about HIV and AIDS. Then after the the two-level government, the national government and the county government, I also was in the Kiambu County government. And the then governor. And it was not very easy because already actually the constitution was new.
Yeah, the constitution.
That level of government was also new. But we were taken in according to the constitution that I was an ex officio in the cabinet, in the governor's cabinet, so that we may be like watchdog, see the development and formulation of the funding. Yes.
So quite extensive.
That is formulation of the budget. Yes.
Quite extensive experience there in terms of working for government. Maybe if I could just fast forward, and this is where I would like us really to have the depth of our conversation today. Reverend, when you received news of your sickness, of the cancer that you got, was it a shock to you, and how did you receive this news?
Well, I think it was a shocker. I've considered that kind of life. It was very interactive with the community, the government, and also again, I have not told you, was the county community policy program chairperson, matters related to security, and also a county Chege secretary, liaising the government vice the church. Yeah, so I could
so link the government and the church.
Yes. So that kind of interaction, and now comes now, I was told that actually before the doctor could break the news, I had got cancer. I came to realize there's no pain in the early stages. You don't know you have cancer.
There's no pain at all.
No pain at all until you are screened. That's the time now you know you have cancer. But in the initial stages, I was good and well, because I remember the day that I really felt very bad. A week or so ago, we had a regional security meeting at Tatu Estate. And I went home, drove myself, and then I felt weak. I tried to lift my laptop. It was like lifting an elephant. And I felt something is very strange with me.
You're now seated in the house or in the office?
In the house. Yes, in the house. And later on, I felt weak in the body. As we were walking with my wife, I could not cope in that kind of walking. She could walk faster than me, which was very unusual to me and to her. Then she asked me, "What's up?" But I was feeling weak. So That is the time I realized I needed to consult a doctor. So I went to hospital, and the doctor told me that actually I was having some anemia, that I was losing some blood because my hemoglobin level had gone down.
Okay.
And that's why I was feeling the kizunguzungu kind of thing. So the doctor advised me that I should be added some blood. So later on I was admitted in hospital, got some pints of blood. And after that, they tried to do to investigate what's the problem.
What's the problem,
Yeah, but they did not find any. But the doctor told me that actually without that, it is hard because I'm losing blood. They must find out where it is oozing out from.
Yes.
That's the time I went to another hospital. I was discharged and I went to another hospital. They did some investigation and they did CT scan. They did the endoscopy, put the camera down. Then they didn't find anything. Then later on, they did the endoscopy, the camera from the back, and that's the time they found the problem was allowed in around the colon. And that day, the doctor called us, and my wife, and he kind of was counseling us. I was wondering, why is all this information coming in? So I started to shiver. Then finally he opened up his laptop at the monitor and he showed us where the problem was, and he told us it's cancer. That was a tumor, but it was in the very early stages, not so. And he told me it's manageable, I'd have to go through surgery. And I looked at my wife, she was feeling like, wow, yeah, it is. Because I could see on the television, the information and everything else about cancer. We had done Harambe for people. They are gone to India. They have come back in a coffin. And all the statistics at the back of my mind of people that I know, and they have gone, they are dead. That was started, milling in my mind. And when we went home, we were not speaking in the car.
When you got from the hospital?
Yeah, when we drove back home, we were not talking. That evening, I don't even remember eating. I went to bedroom, and I lied down, and I looked up. I asked God, I have served so well. What is all this? Yes.
Why cancer?
Yes. So I tried to juggle with life, try to look at God. Why did you allow this elephant to come into my life? Yes. So some hot tears rolled upon my cheek, down the pillow, and I could look at life holistically, and I felt that my life had come to an end. And I was not brave enough to face my wife also, because actually I knew what was at the back of her mind. So finally, we went back to hospital. We were given an appointment. We went back to give a feedback. Then we told him, okay, we are ready to go. But actually, we had sourced for another hospital for that surgery to be done there. We went there also. And we were told it's doable. We have, I'm a family man. We have 3 children. And one is in America. So they were all worried, and especially the student who is in university doing economics. And they suggested probably I go to America for the same. Yes, so I went back to my doctor, but she said that actually it's doable right here in Kenya. They can do it. So they sat down I think the oncologist, the surgeon, as a team they sat down and they looked the issue, and they come back to me and my wife and told me, Raphael, I think we can manage the situation.
Sure.
So I just went for the surgery. Yes.
So how did your children also receive this message? Because clearly when such a thing happens, like you mentioned with your wife and even with yourself, what was the reaction from your children?
Well, my children, the one who is here, she's also married, married to a doctor.
Yes.
So they came home, they try now to talk to me about the situation, and especially my son-in-law, the doctor, and also my daughter is a pharmacist. So they have a bit knowledge of what is happening within me. So they talked. But I could see behind the curtains of their mind, they also were really feeling it's about they are going to lose their daddy. So that was paining me more than my reaction, you know, leaving my children. So the other one in America, she called, she could not stand it, she was shivering. And she said, no, you have to come right here for some treatment. And I said, okay, the doctor said that it's doable right here. Yeah. Then the one in university, he was badly hit. He's a boy, 2 girls and the boy. And he called home, he was crying, and I had to talk to him on the phone. I could not really be able to calm him down, so I told him to come home. So he came home, we talked to him about it all, and I told him that I'm going to go through it, and with God all things are possible. And but I saw still, it was like a big chapati. You are not really believing with all the information in the net about cancer, and cancer also comes with a stigma, discrimination, and also it's like a death sentence. So with all this, but I blessed myself, and I said, it's I that have the disease in me.
Reverend, even as you give your son hope, and you tell him that it will be okay, there's something you mentioned to me before we started the show, where you said, in your mind, you actually were looking up some eulogies, and you're thinking of how to write your eulogy. What was going through your mind?
Well, Timothy, you see, after surgery, the surgery was such long slit, almost 6 inches, from the rib cage down near the pubic area. So it was huge. And when I looked at it, it was pinned up. Then I knew so many people had gone through the surgery, you know, the theater, and they did not come up. And now here I am. I've gone through it. The doctor assured me that they removed the tumor. But I knew people who are really gone through it. I did not make it. And know their amplification that cancer is incurable. And so every time I could hear the voice telling me that you are next, you are next, you know, so kind of I felt like giving up on life. Then I looked at my father-in-law eulogy that we had buried him 3 years ago, and some eulogy that were lying there in my bookshelf. And I said, I want to write my own eulogy. And then have to categorize who will come to my funeral.
You already arranged for your funeral? Yes,
and I decided I will not be buried there. I'll be buried in Langata Cemetery. Yes, and I decided that this is it. This is the end of it. And after serving God all that time, I felt an inner hopelessness. Why could God not mitigate my problem when it came on me? because every time I thought it was the next door neighbor who have cancer, not me, not
my family.
Yeah, I was enjoying good health all through. And when now it came now to me, it really shattered my future, my hope. And more so when I realized that I'm going to leave my wife, I'm going to leave my children without a father. And it was the time that actually I was settling down at my age, my wife, the children are grown up, and we have a good home, and we are there, me and my wife, to enjoy, you know, bring up the children. And now they are out of our hearts. But now that cancer now has come, meant that actually everything is like it has gone on fire.
Sure.
If I would like to say, I just encourage myself in the Lord. Yeah, that is very powerful. When I was in a high dependent unit, after the second surgery, because I had 2 surgeries, within 40 days,
within 40 days, you
40 days had 2 surgeries. And long enough, I have told you, around 6 inches. And the last one, it was an open wood surgery.
They didn't pin it up.
They did not pin it up. Yeah, for the purposes known better to them.
Yes.
And for the better healing, and for the better of the inner tubes, you know, wood, or the colon. So they left it open. They could clean it in the morning in the hospital, then bandage it up, then tape it. Then I was there in the HDU for some seasonal time. Then out of that, the main ward, then later on, I was recuperating slowly, but when the surgeon came and I looked at myself, the wound, I did not want to check it a second time. Throughout the season, only my wife, who was trained when I was discharged, how to dress me. I didn't look down because I saw it's like a great Rift Valley, which was right there. Even I told the team surgeon, I wrote an SMS, on a jokingly, I told her, you create a great Rift Valley in my tummy. But thank God, because after some seasonal time, it crossed down. But that was way down February, end of February this year. It crossed down. And after crossing down, they were waiting for it to cross down so that I can start chemotherapy. And by the beginning of March, I started the chemo treatment. And that's why you find my hands are dark. Yes, and my foot, because, those are negative positions.
That's quite a chilling experience, I would say. And, you know, would this be the reason why many people are actually fearful about cancer? The pain that you go through in terms of the treatment? The treatment, I think, is somehow more painful, I would say, than the initial stage, because as you said, cancer is never painful before it never gives you even signs.
In the beginning.
Maybe we'll take a short break for now, and when we come back in the second half, Reverend Chege, I would like us now to speak about currently, Reverend Chege. What is Reverend Chege doing in terms of issues to do with cancer? How is he dealing with his own cancer situation, and how is he also helping to impact society in the kind of things that he's doing? I think this is another area that I would like us to look into in the second half when we come back. Viewer, you had the story for yourself, quite chilling, but I'm grateful that we have someone like Reverend Chege who can sit down here and talk to us about this excruciating pain, but also this most trying moment that most of our brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, and even children sometimes go through. Well, we now take a short break. When we come back, we are going to talk to Dr. Chege about what he does right now and how he's helping to create awareness about the same. and the kind of activities that he is engaged in. If you have any comments, suggestions, or opinions, send that to our email address info@gbskenya.com, or you can send us an SMS on 21144. 211 is 44 is the number. Let's take a short break for now.